Hello, welcome to the Free Cheese, episode 340. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Matt, another week, another bet that I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
You texted me and said, hey, I got your Cherry Coke Zero. I don't even remember what the hell. Sorry. Cherry Coke
Energy. I got the
Cherry
regular
Coke
boy.
Energy. Not,
Okay.
yeah. Used to buy in Cherry Coke Zeros for the household. Just rolled off the tongue. Cherry Coke Energy. That's the best. Let me crack this guy open.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. What was the bet?
I asked, or I said, I think PlayStation will do a rebuttal on the Xbox news,
Right.
and that did not happen. So,
No, it didn't.
you're now on the board.
There you go. Ooh, cherry's good. I haven't had a good cherry in a while.
It's hard to find. That's why I
They're
ordered them
tough,
all.
right? Yeah. And they taste better knowing where it came from, you know?
Yeah.
Victory.
Victory.
We've got a big show this week. I know for myself, I played a lot of video games to talk about. I know you played some stuff too, other than chasing down that platinum. But there's also a ton of news.
Yeah.
It was not a slow week. Before we jump in, any fun stories from Matt's world?
No, I think you saw the best thing already this week. Sad for the gentleman who will have to rip that piece of paper off his car to put on a real plate. But in the drive-thru of a Taco Bell, I saw a man with the best expiration date for his temporary license plate of April 20th.
Pretty good. Well, he'll get to keep that. You know what I mean? He can put that away for himself and hang on to it, right? The
Maybe.
tag?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I just tore mine up and threw it away. But if you had something frameable like that, you'd want to keep it, right?
I think so. I'll
Yeah.
keep it. Take it to a framing place and be like, please.
Yeah, please. I need your finest custom frame for this. And they'll say, oh, is this a special piece of memorabilia? Yes, of course it is.
I would like the exact price of the frame to be $42,690.
I won't pay a dime more. Well, Matt.
Or less.
Or less, yeah. No, we can charge far less for that, sir. Yeah, no, it's fine. That's the price I'm going to pay, okay?
How about $420.69? Nope.
Nope. No.
Everything's dollar value here.
Yeah. Don't cheat me.
That's all I got.
Speaking of not cheat, well, that's not a bad week. I think we should jump right into it. There's a lot of video games to talk about.
Challenge everything.
We had some stuff come out on PlayStation Plus this week that I played a little bit of.
Me too.
But let's Shadow of the Colossus. I started it. I killed 3 colossi.
How do you like that game?
I like it fine. However, because there's always a however.
There is always a however.
No, there's
no
not.
game is perfect.
No, I don't have a lot to say about that game other than I started it and I took out the first 3 colossi, but it's smaller than I expected. Have you played it before? You said
I never played it, but I watched someone play through it. So I have a decent idea. The original. Yeah,
you at least in this, what I've played so far, it kind of starts you off in this big stone temple and says, "Hey, you." In order to, he carries. I don't know who he is, but the warrior you play as carries a lifeless body
Woman.
to an altar, sets her
Pretty
down,
much an altar,
and
yeah.
then kind of a god voice says, "Hey, if you want her to come back, you need to kill these
The
things."
young man's name is Wander.
There you go, Wanderer. I knew, yeah. They say, hey, you got to go kill all these giants, and then we'll grant you 3 wishes or whatever the deal is. So it kind of starts off. You hold your sword up in the air. The sun shows you which direction to go into. You go that direction. Oh my God, there's a big monster, and you fight the monster. And I kind of figured out approaching each colossi. It's different each time, right? Like you have to figure out how am I getting up? How am I going to get around? And all of those things. But the general idea is climb the monster, find the weak point, stab the weak point, monster's dead. So I did that 3 times, and it was all you'd kill it, kind of a cutscene with the text in VO, and then it would warp you back to the altar. You'd walk out into the sunlight, hold the sword up in the air, and then do it. I just kind of did that.
That's it.
It was about an hour, and then that was it. I don't know. I appreciate that it's just so straightforward because so many games I feel like if that was like a modern game, you would need so many other things layered into it. Just like you would have to walk all the way back. It wouldn't warp you back. You'd stand there and look at the corpse, and then you'd have to take a picture of the corpse in order to unlock the secret armor. You could only, you know what I mean? Like it'd be all the dumb.
There's a random event going on in the mini map, so you have to go over there to complete the side quest.
Yeah, so
without a dumb man taking photos of a naked person.
Yeah, all of that stuff, you know. And like there is some of that, like finding the fruit throughout the world. You know, I can see there's trophies for that kind of stuff, but just generally, it's much smaller than I thought it was.
Yeah, and I don't remember that game doing anything different than that. I think it's just that straightforward. I think getting to some of the colossi are a little, it gets a little weird. I think it's stuff like that, and then some of those colossi fights like turn into like puzzle, like very much so. I remember specifically like a flying one, and like how to get onto the flying one was like something you had to do something specific to do it. Yeah, and I feel like I don't know. I like it. I'm gonna keep going with it. I don't know what else to say about that one. No, I mean I always liked it, you know, from afar, and never seemed like something my way or in my realm. You know, it was the last game Studio Japan put out for a long time.
Well, I think Ueda specifically.
Ueda, sorry.
But Studio Japan, don't forget, Patapon, Tokyo Jungle.
Tokyo Jungle, especially.
Yeah. Please make a Tokyo Jungle.
Shadow of the Tokyo Jungle.
What is PS5 if it's not Tokyo Jungle? As long as PS5 is fully backwards compatible with like all PSN purchases, then I got no problem.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Day one, Tokyo Jungle. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm playing. I don't give a shit what launches.
Well,
Horizon 2, couldn't care.
Mm.
I definitely don't care anyway. Already I don't care. But even still.
Bold words coming from across the table.
I'm not going to.
I guess I'll fucking play Spider-Man 2.
Tokyo Jungle. If you told me Spider-Man 2 was going to launch, as much as I like Spider-Man 1, Tokyo Jungle.
I'm going to remember this.
Write it down. Make another bet. Speaking of bets, this is not a bet, but it is Sonic Forces, because that's the other PlayStation Plus game this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. The story starts off where obviously, like, where are you going to take this? Right? Sonic is the fastest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
Well, what if there's someone faster than Sonic?
What?
Right? Now, here's where I have a problem with it. I don't know where the story's going yet, because I did stop playing because this game's pretty boring. But this is a classic Flash scenario, okay? There's always, it's a thing. It's like Flash is the fastest man alive, except for when he's not the fastest man alive, because now there's Zoom, or there's this guy, or there's
Burst,
a dark, weird version, like a ghost image of Barry's former self who ran through time to create himself into a human and is now real. Like, all of these things exist in the Flash universe. I started thinking, why doesn't Sonic just fully rip off the Flash and go for it? You could pull in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Think about that. Crisis on Infinite Mobiuses. That's the name of the Sonic world.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You think about that. You just have all of these. They kind of touch that, right, with Sonic Generations. And maybe Sonic Forces gets there. I'll find out eventually. I did return to it after stopping.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. I will say that I also played Sonic Forces a little bit.
Yeah, you made your OC, I saw.
Yeah.
Don't steal.
Yep.
How, walk me through. This is your first Sonic game, right?
Yeah, in a long time. Probably since one on a Genesis.
Because you didn't play Mania. You appreciated Mania, but you didn't actually play.
No, I never played Mania. No.
So you decided that this was the...
I probably played like Sonic 2 or Sonic 1 on my cousin's Genesis at some point. But like I don't think I've made it far.
And how'd this one go for you?
Not great.
Yeah.
It's the level. I always,
it really is.
I swear to God, like it's fun to play when I'm going very fast.
Yes.
Like I get it. It's cool, and like when you time your jumps well, you go like these upper levels, and you feel like you're doing really good because you're staying high and not low. Like that's fun. I can see the appeal. But then I run into a wall and I have to jump and platform. Like, oh God. Yeah. And then
he's slow to jump. I think that makes it difficult.
It's so weird how like unsnappy he is when you aren't running. Like to get him from standstill to run again is very slow and clumsy.
Yes,
and that does not feel good. And then you couple that with having to jump on these platforms specifically, which Sonic's never done well in my opinion. So
I don't know if you're always supposed to, do the tuck and roll kind of thing. I don't know.
I will say my favorite level was
Spin
the
dash?
Traditional level, like the third level where they put like the Baby Sonic.
Oh, the classic Sonic.
Yeah, that was my favorite level because I missed the down and taking off. Like that's always fun. And I thought the auto, like I felt like I could mash X with the first Sonic and get through the level, and then I felt with my created character I can just hold R2 and beat the level.
And shoot things. Yeah, that was the problem with this one, is that it's too simple, which means that it's not. It's like it's not bad because it's not. It's still done well enough, but it's just very simple. You just, when you're regular 3D Sonic at first, you just run in a direction and you occasionally jump. When you're your created character, because of course they write in fan fiction into the game as reality, but that becomes
it was your created character.
I just did a wolf. Yeah, I didn't give it a whole backstory or anything. You know what I mean? Just kind of make it all black.
I did my best attempt at making a Crash Bandicoot.
I saw, it was a good Crash Bandicoot.
There's not much you can do in the creator. That creator is terrible. You unlock stuff as you play.
Yeah, I played a couple more levels and I was getting stuff.
If I would have gotten a pair of red shoes or jeans, I would have kept going in that first drop.
I will keep going and I'll let you know when it happens.
Okay, well, thank you for that because I'm done. I did not delete it from my console when I quit the application, but I thought about it.
It's something.
It will probably be the first to go when baseball comes around.
Well, so speaking of the Flash, there are, in old Flash comics, they used to do a thing called Flash Facts. And it'd be a thing. Some hot science. You know what I mean? And it was actually educational little things. Flash Facts. So, Matt, I got for you just 4 Sonic Facts.
Great.
And this comes from wiki.kidssearch.com.
Got it.
It's kids with a Z, which I know you already know that.
Yeah, of course.
Is this more, I'm going to ask you, give your best guess at each of these.
And they're all Sonic related.
And they're all Sonic. Well,
okay.
these are it's basically the same question done 4 times.
Okay.
All right. How old is Sonic?
No clue.
What'd you guess?
27.
All right. How old is Tails?
Sounds like they're all like gung. I feel like is this all connected universe, by the way, or do they reboot?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let me take back my Sonic thing.
Okay.
I think Sonic's like 8, Tails is like 5.
Okay. How about Knuckles?
Seems to have an edge to him, like he's mature, like he's been through some shit. So I'm gonna say 13.
Okay. All right. And Shadow.
Wasn't he created like in a lab? Does that even count?
You know a lot of stuff. Look at you.
I saw him glitch. Look, man, I was paying attention.
Right,
to this. I have notes about the story here, but we pivoted already, so.
All right. Well, Sonic, according to this, is 15 years old.
All right.
Tails is 8. Which
I had 8 and 5, right?
You had 8 and 5. Which is a little red flag to me. When I was 15, I wasn't hanging out with 8-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little weird.
I had a 12-year-old brother, but that's a little different. You know what I mean? Knuckles, you were right thinking, hey, he's got an edge.
Yeah.
He's not 13, but he is older than Sonic, which is, I think, where you were going. He's 16. He's not much, but just a little bit.
I was close to. That's a 13.
And and then Shadow, 50. Which, that doesn't make any sense to me. Shadow the Hedgehog is 50 years old. Doesn't...
What, isn't there that game? It's like Shadow and the Knights. There's like there's a Sonic game of Shadow where he's like fighting knights, like an old timey
Sonic
thing.
and
So
the
that makes
Dark
sense. He's 50.
Brotherhood. That's a BioWare game.
Oh no! God.
It's
like in the Dark Crystal or something. Shadow.
Why is it that as I search for this on my iPad, it comes up with a text message conversation with you? It shouldn't. I don't know why it is. Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood is a role-playing video game developed by BioWare and published by Sega for the Nintendo DS.
Love that.
There's a sentence for you.
Love that. Yeah, so sure, makes sense.
Kind of want to track that down. Yeah. Sonic Forces. I'll keep going with that.
I'm done.
Done? The story didn't grab you?
What story?
Oh, it's fascinating.
What, the fact that he kills Sonic and then in the first mission, Knuckles was like, hey, we just found Sonic. Not even built to it.
Yeah, no. Gotta bring it.
Like I said, I had notes ready to go about the story. We dove in.
Well, we'll
I don't want to. I don't need to.
I have more. Maybe there's more Sonic later. Maybe.
Not from me.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
We'll see. What else did you get into this week?
Let's jump right in. We all know what I've been playing.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Remastered.
Remastered, of course.
Chasing the Platinum.
Chasing the Platinum.
Can you smell it yet?
Yes. And the drive is back in me. Because I have officially at least beaten Dark Souls.
Nice.
Off the board. Thank you.
Good job.
So, 1 playthrough down.
7 more to go. No, you said like, 2.5 total.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling really good. So, the path to the final boss has these black knights that are along the way. And you can run from them if you wanted to. But they drop like all those shards, like the good ones, like the chunks.
Yeah.
And you can later, you could break those down like you could in Bloodborne, I think, as well, with bloodstones.
Yeah.
So it was nice. I was like farming them as I kept losing to the final boss. But they also dropped their weapons. And they are very high-powered weapons. So I once again pivoted my weapon again. And now I have this overpowered sword from the Black Knights.
Yeah.
So I'm like rolling through the New Game Plus right now.
So does beating the game, because I remember that feeling of beating Bloodborne and rolling back into it from the beginning, you do have that sense of like confidence, but I feel like it can sometimes be like once I got the gas coin,
I've experienced that confidence, and then I was immediately brought down to earth after like a bad fight.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been through the whole cycle you're about to go.
Yeah.
You're about to explain here.
That's the hook.
Yeah, like I'm stuck on a boss now, and I hate the design of it, but I really didn't struggle with it my first playthrough. I think I beat on the second or third time, the Capra Demon. But when you walk in, you know how the camera in these games, like it like struggles with the fog for a second, and you can't really see. Well, while it's doing that, the Capra Demon decides to just start wailing on you.
Sure.
Great, love that. But there's also 2 dogs randomly in the boss room.
That weren't there the first playthrough?
No, they're there.
Yeah.
But it's just random dog enemies, which are like fast and are annoying.
Yeah.
And this room is not very big either. It's probably the smallest boss room in the entire game.
And it only takes 2-3 seconds of something coming at you without you being able to react or do anything before like it could fuck you up pretty quickly.
So like with him coming at you, and he usually attacks the specific attack that's like kind of hard to block. Like you have to be really buffed to block it, so you have to dodge it. But I've been like dodging into a dog that's biting me, so I'm not getting away, and then I get bit by the dog and then hit with the sword, and then before I know it, the dog bites me again. I'm dead. It's happened to me like 4 times in a row now, and I've died within 8 seconds of entering this room every time, and it did not feel good, so I turned off my game yesterday.
Yeah.
But
that's the last.
I'm like stuck there.
Yeah.
I'm like, and like I can't do anything because that's the key to go to Blighttown, and I need that key to go to Blighttown now.
Are there any items you can use, like a Molotov equivalent that you can
There's like no time to react once you get in that room.
Ugh.
That's like the thing. Like as soon as you walk in and he is swinging one of his moves at you.
All right, and then the next question, what does the guide say?
Roll to the right as soon as you enter the room, but I feel like I've been rolling to the right and I run into the dog.
Always take the left-hand path. Go left.
I went left the third try and I got stuck. So yeah, I beat Dark Souls. We're still rolling through that. I'm following the PSN profile guide to a T. So anything they say in bold, I make sure I look at.
Yeah.
I had a lot of the weapons already, so I feel pretty good about that. I need the boss souls and, of course, the Titanite slabs, which are the ones like you get like 1 per playthrough or whatever.
Yeah.
Just need to make sure I get those for all the different colors to make sure I complete the weapon trophy. You need to make sure I get all the remedies and miracles because I wasn't really doing that. That's the part I really had to pay attention to this time because I wasn't a a spellcaster. That wasn't my build. So I have to make sure I'm doing that appropriately and have the souls at the right time. And buying those and making sure I get the NPCs to buy said spells. So a little bit of making sure we're doing this all methodically and the right way. But yeah, we're moving. It's just nice because I know Lordan. I think that's the name of the realm, the land.
Sounds like you know it,
Lordan. But I know it so well because of the way that map design is. I'm like, gotta go here. Gotta go there. Gotta go there. And I have to summon Solaire with me from time to time because I needed so many sunlight medals to buy one of his spells.
Oh, right.
And you get sunlight medals by bringing him into a boss fight and him living. So, like, the first, like, boss that had, like, it's one at first and then the second one comes along. Like, he was with me. So it was, like, the easiest boss fight of my life.
Because you're already going into it. This whole game you've gone through, no companions.
No.
Yeah. So now, that's pretty good.
So, yeah, it was just nice. He was just tackling the one gargoyle, and I went to the other one, just fucking wailed on it, and then came over, and then praised the sun, and then he leaves, and I get my sunlight medal.
And he can't be used for this current one you're stuck on?
No.
Oh.
It's like Bloodborne, where you'd summon different people. Depending on, like, you could technically summon Gascoigne for
Rom, I think it was. Not Rom. Somebody.
The first one. The beast.
Cleric beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And stuff like that. But yeah. Rolling through. I'm reinvigorated because I beat it. That last boss, surprisingly easy if you know the parry.
So we had a similar week. I beat Zelda 2 after falling off of it a little bit the week before. But the last boss, pretty easy.
Was it just so, like... For me, it was just a weird mechanic, and me wearing a specific ring. Was it just like you were overpowered, or just the mechanic of it all?
Nah, it's just a bug with the game. When you're fighting Dark Link, if you happen to be in the left, like in a corner, basically, he can't hit you, and you hit him. So
got him.
I figured that out.
It's like the Holy Water in Castlevania 2, right?
With
Dracula.
That that
just keep spamming it.
Yeah, just keep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of times those games, and it's funny because Dark Souls does get equated back to like original Zelda. You know, kind of what if Zelda got dark and grew up or whatever. But I feel like Zelda 2 had that piece to it of like it's all tough throughout the game, you know what I mean? As you go into the caves, you go into whatever. You shouldn't underestimate anything. And then the final boss, it's more like it's not a skill check so much as it is just like, all right, you need to do this, but it wasn't the hardest.
Yeah.
Even if I had done it without figuring out that whole like stand in the corner, you don't really take as much damage. It's kind of tough because it is Shadow Link. Like, he's kind of mirroring your moves in a way. But it's not the end of the world. And I moved from that. Once beating that, I moved right into Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse.
The prep for Netflix, right?
Yeah, I was really excited for that show this week. So I started playing Castlevania 3 because I had never beaten that one. Out of the old ones that I beat 1 and 2, and 1 I beat playing... Like, 1 I will beat that in an hour, and you just sit down and fuck around. Mm-hmm. 2, you gotta play that with a guide, obviously. But 3, 3 I never got through. It's a tough game.
3 is probably the one I played the most outside of Symphony.
It's
and the DS ones I did play.
Yeah. But I really dig it. Like, I'm playing through. I have Sypha right now in my is not party, but as the other character you can swap between. And the thing I learned, and maybe this is a lesson you can take back to Dark Souls with you.
Okay.
But the thing I kind of learned or remembered this time around, it's not that these games are hard, because they are, but it's just that you don't know them yet. And I made it further in this game just by playing it. You know what I mean? And like, so the first time I ever beat Castlevania 1, I was playing and using save states. The first time I beat it, like my late teens, and then whatever. And I'd later do it without that, but it was like I had that crutch to begin with. So this time around, I was like, I'm going to play it as if, because I'm playing through the Switch Anniversary Collection, and I could save state, but I'm doing it literally with the password system and everything when you die and keeping that. So every time I walk away from the game, I take a picture of the password and come back to it. And just by playing it and staying with it, I'm making it further just because you're learning those habits. And I think that's all it ever is.
Yeah. I mean, Sekiro, such an easy game for me now.
Yeah.
Like, because I know enemy encounters.
You know
I
how
know
they're gonna roll.
I know how to parry, and exactly. I know all the shortcuts around. One last thing before moving on from Dark Souls. Dark Souls is officially my third favorite game from Software.
Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls?
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
No, I'm just like, I think...
Oh, like knowing the beginning to end?
Yeah, seeing it through and the way the combat is. Yeah. Like it.
Bloodborne's still top, though?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure.
Sekiro is good because it's different.
Yeah.
That's like its saving grace. No, but still, map design of Dark Souls, I think, is overall my favorite map. Just the way they have that laid out.
I know we both got one that we definitely played that we'll talk about, but did you play anything other than that you wanted to jump into?
I did. Real briefly, you texted me something, and you caught my eye, and I dropped some money on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got my Switch.
Oh?
Murder by Numbers.
Oh, yeah.
I did it.
Nice. How is that?
I didn't get terribly far. I got enough to know, like, what the story is gonna be. But it's, dude, fucking... Is
Sandra Bullock in it, or...
No.
No Ryan Gosling?
No.
All right. How about that other guy that I don't remember his name?
No.
All right. Yeah, this is a Picross game?
It's like a Picross visual novel, and I think we're gonna start to lean into some, like, mini-game detective stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember where it popped up, something, but like a month ago, and I put a reminder in my phone for the day before it released. I was like, I reminded myself to look at it and see if I still wanted it and let you know it was coming out. And then, yeah. So how is the Picross part of it? Because that's obviously... I
haven't gotten to the challenging Picross yet.
Oh, it's still like tutorial.
I've seen a couple boards that pass the tutorial, but they're kind of easy.
Yeah.
But no, I like the tutorial a lot because it explained, like, you know, the 2 means this and this, you know, and you want to make sure they're intersecting. But they're, like, teaching you methods that, like, I kind of just picked up naturally from the Konami one I was playing.
Right.
Of, like, hey, like, if you're noticing that this row needs 7 and there's only 10 across, you know that these blocks are guaranteed to have it. Now you're just trying to figure out where the other 3 go or whatever. And so I thought that the tutorial was really good at, like, explaining not only what Picross is, but strategies to tackle said things.
I like that because it can be, you do pick up on strategies playing them, because I've played them for who knows how long, but you get that kind of thing in your head where you, just like with Sudoku, where there's those unwritten rules where you kind of figure out, like, by process of elimination, I know that there must be a 6 here or whatever. Like, you do that in Picross after a while, where you just kind of look at a thing and you're like, well, I know it's this because of these other rules or whatever.
So, yeah. So the actual story of the game, you start off as Scout, and he is a floating robot. And he is, like, the game is, like, booting. Like, the game starts, like, him, like, booting and seeing all, like, the terminal stuff going on, and you see, like, a bunch of, like, crash logs. He keeps crashing, but then, like, he finally gets his visuals up, and that's when, like, you kind of finally, like, see past the terminal screens for the first time, and it looks like you're in, like, some kind of, like, landfill dumpster area, and he's like, how did I get here? I don't know what's going on, blah blah blah, let's see if I need help. Well, it cuts to other characters of the game. You're meeting Honor and Becky for the first time, and ironically, they are actor or actresses that play in a detective show.
How convenient.
Yep. So the scene they were wrapping up their final reshoot of the year, and they were about to take their break before next season. But that's when the executive producer, I think his name was, like, Blake. No, as I said, it was. Is a Blake or something like that. And he calls Honor into the room and says that they are moving away from her for next season. And Honor's all mad, and she's like, what am I going to do for a job? Blah, 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 blah. I thought we were friends. So she goes away. She's outside, like, kind of, like, sad, and then she runs into Scout, and Scout's like, hey, I saw the sign for you being a detective and to stop by every Tuesday night, so can you help me with my shit? And she's like, no, now's not the time, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, what are you? Why are you here? What's going on? And the robot's not able to answer anything because it doesn't know. They go their separate ways, but Honor can't find her keys, so she goes back to the studio. She hears a scream from Becky in the executive producer's room, and Honor goes in. Dude is dead.
Ooh.
So now we have a murder. Not in Savannah.
All right.
Not in Savannah, but we have a murder.
All right.
So now, right now, this detective has us all locked into a room, and that's because they locked down the scene. They don't want anyone leaving. And you've met some other characters. You met like the maintenance dude that's around the set, and you met like the stylist on the set.
How does Picross play into this?
So
that's the part I'm like.
So everything with Picross comes from Scout, and it's him kind of deciphering the images around him. So I'll give you. Okay. This is the last thing I did in the game, and I'm like starting to see how the Picross comes to play here. Because everyone's stuck in the room, Honor's like, I just want to get out of here. Like, having a bad day, like, I don't got time for this. So she asks Scout, like, hey, we escape. I can start to help you with your thing. Mm-hmm. And Scout's like, all right, cool. So it goes into this thing where you kind of just start panning the room, and I found a vent. And I click on the vent to interact, and then the Picross happens. So I'm like trying to put together the picture of the vent so you can identify the object and be able to figure out what to do next.
All right, that's kind of cool.
But yeah, no, I kind of really like the visual novel so far.
Yeah, I think I found there was the anime intro movie or whatever. I think that was what I saw, and I was like, "This is fucking cool." I whatever this is, I'm buying it. Yeah, I didn't realize this is the same developer behind Hatoful Boyfriend.
Oh, all right.
Which I never played that.
I never played that.
Yeah,
but yeah. No, I like the characters. The Honor is like pretty straightforward. The detective is like a hard ass. You got this dumb security guard that like it's like bumbling her way through the day or his day. Yeah. But then like Becky, who is the lead on the show, is very like it's all about me. Like I can't be here because I have a party I need to attend. And Honor's like, dude, that dude dead. Just dead. You're worried about your social life. She's like, just because he's dead doesn't mean my social life has to die. And it's like shit like that. I'm like, oh, that's a good line. Like, so
jot that down.
Yeah,
save it just in case.
And then like you start to meet the hairdresser, and then the maintenance dude is like all like he's jacked because he works out or whatever. Yeah. And like the hairdresser is like, oh, enough of this case. I want to learn more about you. Like obviously being that kind of character. So yeah.
Worth it? Do you think worth the?
It's too early to say.
Yeah,
but I mean, I like a good Picross. It seems to have elements of that, and so far the visual novel is pretty good. Right. There was something that I also noticed in the main menu, and I don't know if it's just the way they're going to break down the story for like a level select kind of thing, or if it's just different stories in the game. But there was like a level select when I hit new game. Like of course everything was blacked out, so I don't know if it was like case 1, case 2. Case 3, or if it's just like, all right, well, this is episode 1 of the game. This is,
or if it's just puzzle by puzzle,
or that as well. Yeah.
After the fact, you can go back. Yeah, that's weird.
So yeah.
Cool
stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that. I might grab that. I did. The weird thing is, I went from kind of like I don't know what I'm playing to suddenly this week just everything, and not everything. I played that a couple years ago, but we talked about PlayStation Plus games earlier. Mm-hmm. Well, Games with Gold got Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 this week. Mm-hmm. And I jumped into that, spent a good, healthy bit of time with it. I had originally stayed far away from that game. Just it had a lot of negative press around it. Just like it didn't review well. People didn't really seem to like it.
Nope.
And I liked the first one fine enough. I didn't love the opening because it was like in a forest and there was sunlight.
Mark
and it
talked about like...
Yeah, he just went...
Why am I not in a castle?
Yeah, it was very weird.
Or at least right outside of it, like the first Castlevania.
Yeah, like it didn't... it was weird. But by the end of 2, like the first one, you are in a castle and you are doing things, but what I hated by the end, the final boss in the first one is Satan, and you fight him, and by that point, Gabriel has all of these like systems, and I just remember like you needed to fight Satan using the light and the dark energy within Gabriel, which I think you activated at least in 2. It's been a while since I've done the first one, but I'm pretty sure it was the same with left bumper, right bumper, or R1, L1.
Mm-hmm.
And you needed to like, when Satan cast red, you had to cast blue. It was like that kind of thing, and like it just got tiresome. So it was like a final like, I'm good. And then when 2 came out, it was like, nah. But hey, now it's free, so I was like, let me see. Let me at least play the opening of it. And I kind of enjoy it so far. I do want to keep going with it. I'll say that up front. But the game starts off, there are a shit ton of cutscenes. Like, it's just, you take a step, there's a cutscene. I haven't watched this cutscene. You're back in control. You take a step, you open a door, another cutscene. It was cutscene. And then, like, some of them just kept playing one after the other. And I was like, all right. Then it's a bunch of tutorials where it kind of jumped through time a little bit. So you pick up where one of the Castlevania 1 DLCs left off, which led to Gabriel becoming Dracula. And this game picks up while everyone, the knights of whoever, are trying to storm the castle and kill Dracula. Obviously, right? And you pick up, you're playing as Gabriel, fighting them off and keeping them out of the castle. And then they kind of do a time jump through some cutscenes and things like that. And you're suddenly...
1,000 years have passed.
Yeah. You are this old-ass man, like, he looks like death, and...
In modern times.
And yeah, you start walking out of the front of the castle. Like, when you gain control back again after all these cutscenes, you're walking out front of the castle, and it's now, like, surrounded by skyscrapers. There's horns beeping. There's traffic lights. There's people walking. You're like, oh, shit. And you kind of walk out, and then he murders the whole family and gets his youth back because he's now got blood back. You know, he's been blood-starved this whole time. And then the game's kind of jumping between, like, modern day trying to take down some weird-ass chemical factory thing, and then you're, like...
Is a Joker in there by any chance?
I did, not far. I just fought like a weird Medusa lady thing. The way they do it, they give you this wolf medallion. Trevor Belmont gives it to you. So in this canon, Gabriel is Trevor's father. Trevor's the protagonist from Castlevania 3, but this is a completely separate, like, Konami separated this is like a whole reboot of the franchise, not part of the original Castlevania timeline. But in this one, Trevor's his son. And Trevor gives him this wolf medallion that lets him jump between time. So part of it is kind of like you're in the modern era and you're trying to take down this evil corporation as Dracula. The other part of it is you going back in time through like the thretches of your castle to get your powers back. So like I didn't have the sword of light that you get. You have to go back in time and fight things to get that sword. Okay, then you're back in present time. You use the sword in a bunch of things. Then you got to go back in time and get the shadow claws again. So it's like you're slowly acquiring these things. There's a lot of systems to learn, which I think is... Maybe I need that right now, so I'm kind of enjoying it, but I think it can be overwhelming to somebody because it's not... You think about like Dark Souls, like you're attacking enemies and it's kind of straightforward, right? There are things you can do, and different weapon types will provide different things, but it's generally the same idea. This is like, all right, you hit square, and that's going to be your whip made of blood because he doesn't have a real whip anymore because he obviously can't wield that as Dracula. He's got a whip, and then that gets its own combos that can be like a massive attack or like a flail or a big guillotine kind of thing. There's his light sword, his dark claws. You can throw daggers or bats. You can turn into rats and hide in the shadows. You can jump to different things. Like there's climbing mechanics. There's like a lot of things, and you have to kind of do all of them to like counter some of these enemies. Like there's big enemies you can't physically fight. So you need to throw bats at them to distract them and sneak behind them. And there's like a lot of systems at play here. And the game generally,
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
The game generally is kind of like small puzzle rooms stitched together with combat sequences, and then these big ass gothic set pieces you're walking through. But it's really like, hey, there's a puzzle in this room. Figure out this puzzle. All right, now you're going to fight some stuff. All right, now we're going to show you a cutscene. Now you're going to change time. Now you're going to do it again, but you're going to do it in a different... It's just kind of back and forth like that. And I don't hate it. I think if that's the whole game, I'm going to be kind of disappointed. But generally, I think it looks cool. I think it still looks pretty... generally, like the polish of it all looks nice, even 6 years later. I'm okay with it. I'm enjoying it. You know what I mean? It's not greatest thing ever. It's not...
I think it's just one of those games where I think there's a couple things from what you just said. I've never played the game, of course, but like there's just so many systems. It's like, how is there one that just feels bad or tacked on just because it's a bullet point for the case?
Honestly,
they all feel like decent.
Yeah, they're fine. Like nothing is like incredibly satisfying. You do get some of it, like, like there's so much. What I said doesn't even cover. Like, there's also meters you have to pay attention to. By not taking damage when you're outputting damage, you're filling 1 meter, and then you can push in the left stick to suck energy to fill up your other meters. It's that kind of stuff. And I remember that about the first one being a little tiresome, but none of it necessarily feels bad. None of it feels great. You know what I mean? None of it's like, I'm trying to think of a really good gameplay hook that's like, this feels good. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a game like that, but off the top of my head, why not? What am I thinking of?
I don't know. I was thinking the Nemesis system and Shadow of Mordor.
But something where you're like, oh, this is so satisfying, or like just that like hitting something, or you know what I mean? Like,
why can't I think of a game like that?
I don't know. There's so many of them, I'm sure, but I don't know. Like flying or piloting a mech in Nier Automata. Remember how like that flight system just felt really good? Like there's nothing like that satisfying, but it's all good. You know what I mean? None of it was like, this sucks. You know what I mean? Or well, like I feel good while I'm doing it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'm looking at. I'm on the Wikipedia page, and I'm just looking at the review scores, and it's all over the place. So
yeah,
I think it depends on what you were looking for out of this game or whatever. Like Joystick gave it a 4 out of 5, but then you got Eurogamer gave it like a 5 out of 10. Like it's just all over the place, and like even like reading through the reception area from when it came out, no one really like pointed like, oh, this was a bad thing. It was just like like this wasn't that person's cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm like, generally, I don't hate it. I don't know. We'll see.
Wait, I'm reading the last sentence of a paragraph. Digital Foundry felt that the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions both offered the same graphical and gameplay experience. So we got people worrying about mechanics and the look. Digital Foundry, hey guys, they're running fine at 60. 2 thumbs up.
I love Digital Foundry.
Yes.
Besides the one big one, did you play anything else you wanted to talk about?
I did not, no.
All right, I got one more baby one.
All right.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, boy.
But I started Warframe again.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I just don't know what... So...
I mean, think of the other trash we talked about already.
No, I know,
Sonic.
I know. Yeah, well, yeah. I got out of Destiny. You know what I mean? I got away from that constant, ever persistent thing, and something about Warframe just always lingered. Where I'm like, I want to go back because I got into it on Switch primarily, and then I fell off of it, and I was like, this is a lot. And then I was buying meat one day, as you do, and I talked to the kid at the meat counter about video games.
Ah, yes, okay.
Because he saw my Bloodborne shirt one day, and he was like, "Oh, I love that shirt," and I was like, "Yeah," and then boom, that's it. That's all I had to say.
I have a connection with the Meat Man.
Yeah, so now me and the Meat Man, he tells me about his D&D campaigns he's running. He talks about video games. He was telling me, he was asking me at one point like what I had been playing, and I don't remember what I was playing at the time, but I told him, and I said, "What about you?" And he was like, "Warframe," and I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Dude, Warframe," and I was like, "Really?" He's like, dude, Warframe. I was like, all right.
See, like, I know people that are like that, though.
Yeah. And
like,
I said,
like, dude, Warframe.
I was like, well, I played it for a bit on my Switch, but I was like, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't making any progress, and I wasn't getting anything. And he was like, I mean, you got to put time into it. And I was like, I don't know. I put like 15 hours into it. And he was like, no, you need to put time into it. And I was like, well, I don't have time to put in. You know what I mean?
Put in
like,
Matt Dota time.
Yeah. You gotta get there. So I'm always like every couple weeks, just kind of like I look at the subreddit, I read through the wikis. I'm like, I mean, how do I get back in? And then this week, for whatever fucking reason, I re-downloaded it on Switch. And before I even pulled the trigger on it, I'm laying in bed and I was like, I think PlayStation Plus has a bunch of shit for it that I could get. So I was like, oh my God, there it is. So I downloaded it on PlayStation, deleted it from my Switch. I was like, let me jump in there and just have one good platform, right? So I think the thing that's helping me, because I just jumped in last night for the first time, and I'm progressively making more progress. I think I'm not further than I was on Switch yet, but I already had a character on PlayStation, so I just kind of jumped in. I think what's nice about this time around is you get this kind of drip feed of trophies. And I think the trophy system's pretty generous because what they've done with Warframe is every time they update the game, they literally have, you know, when you can look at trophy lists for a game and it says the main list and then it's like DLC 1 and whatever, it's usually whatever the name of the expansion is. This is literally Warframe Update 1 through like 30. And each of them have like 1 to 5 trophies in there. So it's little things like I don't know, I crafted a mod for one of my weapons or something. And by doing that, I got a trophy. I was like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. I healed somebody. I got a trophy. You know what I mean? Like these little things that are like, you're doing them. And in the game, there might be like daily challenges or things like that, like any free-to-play game. But I'm also getting trophies for it. Or if I'm not, I can see, oh, when I do this 10 times, I'll get a trophy. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, so that's helping with that little bit of a, you know what I mean? Like you're getting that kind of little tap in the back of your head that keeps you going. And I think that if the trophies are kind of there as just that little idea of a reward to keep me going long enough to get to the point where you're actually getting, because I looked it up, like it's going to take some time to get actual rewards. Because for me, what I always see that's attractive to me, because the game itself, playing it, it's fun. Like you're, generally speaking, just kind of running, dashing, sliding, shooting, like that feels good to toss yourself through the world, and combat feels good. It's never felt bad. I do honestly miss playing on Switch because, as silly as it sounds, Switch has the motion aiming built in, so I could play with the Pro Controller and then just do that subtle little tweak like I would do in Breath of the Wild to just nudge your aim a little bit. And I kind of miss that, and it also helped with traversal because you could kind of like tilt and move your character aim. But other than that, like it feels good to run through. But the main hook for me, or the attraction, is getting new Warframes to wear down the line. And it takes a while. You just activated him more.
He's going Super Saiyan on the snore.
I feel like we could set up a live stream of just Earl.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just watch Earl sleep for a while. But yeah, you would do, getting the Warframes, you have to get the blueprints, and the blueprints come in 3 parts. Once you get the blueprint, you have to get the materials to craft. Like it's all of that stuff, right? And you have that for like 20 plus Warframes. And that's the part where I'm like, I want that. You know what I mean? I see people post what they look like. I'm like, how the fuck do you look like that? But it's time. And that's exactly what the Meat Man said.
Meat Man was right.
The Meat Man was right. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm playing it. I'm not.
Hey, there's worse things you can say that I did something dumb.
Yeah, and coincidentally, turns out it's the 7th anniversary just started. So there's double XP for the next little while. And I'm already getting double XP because of the PlayStation Plus stuff. So there's never been a better time to jump in, I'd say, Matt.
Honestly, though, like when you think about it, I mean, who knows what the launch lineups look like for these new consoles, but you would have to imagine Warframe took off because of the leap from PS3 to PS4 because there was kind of nothing there. I mean, yeah, you might get 1 or 2 launch titles that might be of value, but I mean, if Warframe just does the same thing it did again,
Yeah.
I think Godfall is his biggest competitor, but I
don't know about Godfall.
Yeah. So
I would love, like, you know, those, we
Give you
talk
something to
about it
play
all
on
the
a new
time,
console.
like, having those, like, just, that's my game, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Warframe is my game, but I'd be okay if it were. Maybe. I don't know. Let me keep going. Well, I did wake up this morning, and I was like, why the fuck did I play that so much last night? And then an hour later, I was like, shit, we got to record. I wanted to play Warframe. You know what I mean? It was like, all right. All right, Matt, we buried the lead long enough.
Yep.
Final Fantasy VII Remake demo came out like hours after last week's podcast.
Yeah.
And we both played it.
Yes, we did.
I'll let you go. I just talked a bunch about Warframe.
I'm leading. All right. Me personally, this was a tale of two stories.
Oh.
With the beginning that was going one way, and then an end that went another way. Got in, game looks fucking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the final. I think the PlayStation 4 has reached its final evolution.
This is the one.
I think this is like it. Yeah, his final form. We've hit it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, this looks so good, and it's doing all the right camera pivots that I remember from like the 13,000 times I played through the beginning of that game.
Yeah.
Like even the one where like
that cloud shot.
Yeah, like Cloud's like run into the Maker reactor, and he stands still. The camera comes down, and you see Cloud run into him. Like, dude, that's such an iconic moment. They did it, and it's beautiful. I like the audio, like the music. It's like not. It's weird because when you play Final Fantasy VII, because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
All you hear is just the music constantly. So it's a little weird playing Final Fantasy VII and not necessarily like hearing it as prevalent. But it's still there and it's good. I think it's mixed appropriately. You know, with they modernized it a little bit, but it still sounds good. And then I started playing the game and I fucking hated it.
Oh.
I hated it bad. Like I'm just hitting square. I'm just hitting square.
Yeah.
This sucks. Like this is not. No, I'm not ready for this for 40 hours. This is bad. This is bad news. And that's when I texted. I was like, "This is what 15 was like." And you were like, "Yeah." I'm like, I think there's a reason why I didn't play 15 now. Another one anyway.
Yeah.
But I think my mind was just so stuck on the fact of turn base and hit square or like hit attack, use your spells like in the menu appropriately, and then save your limit breaks for when you need them.
Right.
That's not what this. That's not what this is. This is build that ATB bar. Once you get it, use Braver. Keep going. Dodging is a thing. Like you're not going to automatically get hit.
Right.
Like I'm just so used to the way the first one played, where it's mixing the nostalgia and it's hitting all those notes. But because it's hitting all those notes, I was having a hard time reprogramming my brain to
not
the way,
let it.
Yeah. So it's severely impacted everything pretty much until the boss fight. So I'm like sitting there and playing like, looks great. This fucking sucks.
Huh.
And then I got to the boss fight. Well, they introduced Barret and got the character switching, so it mixed up. Like, this is weird. Like, he's auto combat. Like, Like this is not good. I don't like this at all. And then the boss fight happened, and at first, as soon as I hit the first thing with Cloud, I realized like I did not see a thing of its bar going away. I was like, God damn it, dude! I'm gonna be here forever killing this thing. And then I realized I'm just playing it wrong. Like, dude, mash those bravers, use those spells, just like use it. Like, like get out of the thing of like saving your limit breaks. Like it is all about go. Yeah, and I was figuring out finally like the character switching and when to do it. I was like kind of getting used to those second modes. Like Cloud has that one second mode of where like he stalks for a counterattack, and then when someone lunges, like he'll hit you, and then you can kind of start mashing away, and you give up speed when you're doing that. So like everything just started like finally coming together for me, and then by the end of it, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say I loved it, but I'm on a higher note than I was 15 minutes into it.
I think we had the opposite.
Oh, really?
I had the other way of the trajectory, but so I feel like I often get this itch. I'll play a game, and if if the main character of that game is in Smash Brothers, I get this itch to play Smash, right? Like if I'm playing a bunch of Fire Emblem, I'm like, because you don't have direct control, so you kind of have to imagine. But in Smash, you can kind of play out how they would feel like, you know what I mean? And in Smash, they're usually represented by like the best of their form in their respective games. So you get this whole move set that plays out based on like the coolest shit they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like if I play, I don't know, whatever, like playing as Lucina or Fox or Ness in Smash, they don't play like that at all in their original games. Like not one bit. So you get to like play out this kind of weird fantasy in a way. And Final Fantasy VII Remake gives you that same kind of feeling of just satisfaction with a character's moveset when you take over Cloud. And funnily enough, you kind of get that in Smash as well in a different way. But you're playing this classic character in a way that you couldn't before. It feels really good to play. I liked the way it played from the beginning. I didn't have the same like disconnect in my brain where I was, you know what I mean? I didn't run into that. Like I kind of was just like, what do they want me to do? Like, okay, all right, I got it. Like I kind of got it. I don't think I was doing it well until maybe the boss fight, but I got it. I wasn't upset while I was playing it. I was kind of like, all right, cool. And then by the end of it, I honestly like wrapped up the demo, and the demo ends right around where I usually stop playing the game. And I was like, huh.
Well, the demo ended right where the original demo ended.
Right. And I was kind of like, do I need to play this anymore? Like, I don't know if I scratched that itch. I'm like, it's really pretty. It looks really cool. I like how fleshed out characters like Jesse and Wedge are, a.k.a. Badger. Did you catch that, by the way?
No.
You watched Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
Remember Badger?
Yeah.
That was Wedge in the 7 remake.
Oh, shit. All
I heard it, and I was like, that's Badger's voice.
I would have never
looked
put that together.
I heard it, I was like, that's not... But I thought it was cool. But, yeah, like, there's a lot of that there that I liked. I don't know. You kind of get this different side of Cloud than I ever got from the original game, and Midgar looks amazing. Like, the whole thing is super impressive, and I'm like, this is awesome. But I don't know. And maybe when we get closer to launch, I don't know. You know what I mean? I was kind of like ready to go for this, and then after this, I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I've had a weird trajectory with this game. I mean, I think I've predicted it was going to come out the last 3 fucking years or whatever. So like my hype levels have gone like up and down, and finally getting my hands on it and playing it for the first time, I feel like I now understand the game, and my hype level can be, I think it's now the appropriate level, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like, oh my god, they can do this.
Yeah.
This is going to look amazing. I'm like, I think it's tempered my expectation, but it's a good thing going into it, because I'm not expecting this fucking banger of a game. Like I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
It's just finally like I got my hands on it, and I now know what this is. Well,
yeah, you're grounded a little bit. Yeah.
So
you didn't try the classic mode, did you?
No.
I thought about it. I thought about going back and playing it before we recorded, but I was like, nah, I kind of don't want
I thought about replaying it after I had my little my little click just to see, but no, I think classic mode goes to easy. I think that was the problem that I didn't want.
Yeah.
I want just what they deem the normal experience, so it's fine. I'm glad I ended up doing it, because it broke the way to play the game. Couple things about that story.
Yes.
So they've taken some creative liberties, and this is before that Reset Era post came out about the...
What was that?
Someone posted, it was like, Final Fantasy VII has a Han shot first moment now in the remake.
Oh.
You know about the Han shot first in the original cut of Star Wars. Shot.
Yeah, I know that, but what's the...
So, in the original game, it's a little fucked up, but Avalanche is technically like a terrorist organization because it's an attack and it killed people, and there's a whole maker reactor for energy and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, in this game, they pivoted a little bit. Yes, they've still put the bomb, but Shinra attacked
They're the ones that
the Mako reactor as well, kind of probably causing the explosion to be much worse than it originally was. So right away, they already paint Avalanche in a better light.
Interesting.
Also, something that they did, and this might be just a hint of them being able to take some creative liberties with the story this time around. When they're in the elevator and it goes to the Shinra headquarters and there's the boss talking to I forget their names. I should know them by heart at this point, but they're talking. It's like, oh, these are the guys that try to attempt at murder with you. I was like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Whoa, there's no mention of attempted murder in 7.
Two things here. Number one, I've noticed that 3 times now you've said Mako, which is how I would pronounce that. But why does Barrett say Mako? That stood out. I was like, why'd you say Mako? That's not Mako. Anyway, 2, the original 7 did have a really bad translation.
That's true. Yeah.
There was I don't know who it was. There's a thing you can find where someone went through.
It was Kotaku, I think. Or, no, I think Kotaku made reference to the thing.
There's a longer breakdown that some dude went through the original Japanese release versus the American release and did a comparison of all the stuff. There's like all of this nuance that was missed in English through that translation. Which I wonder if maybe some of that, maybe that was the you know what I mean? Like, and this is their opportunity to kind of clean up some of the mistakes of the past. I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. I mean,
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
I think I do like that they are changing the story a little bit, because if it's just the exact same thing but prettier and a different like combat, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I kind of hope that, like, obviously, like the big moment of Final Fantasy VII.
Well, I think that has to happen.
I think it has to happen, but I think if you could do it,
well, no, it literally has to happen for the end game to be a thing, unless they totally rewrite the ending.
They could, you know what I mean?
We can talk more about that off air for spoiler reasons, but I think that has to happen for story reasons.
Yeah,
besides it being like story.
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, did you get the secret ending? I put that in air quotes.
Oh,
did you set the timer to 30 minutes or 20 minutes?
I did 20.
Oh, so did I. So we each both got the secret ending. Do you know what the big secret ending is? That extra 5 seconds of Sephiroth walking off into the fire.
My secret ending was it took me to a page that wanted me to buy the deluxe edition of the game. That was the one I got.
Oh, yeah, that was after the...
Oh, okay.
With that, I don't think that game ends in Midgar. I think it goes a little bit past. Because that scene, very well animated, looks to be ready to go for the game, happens in Nibelheim. It's the first city you go to after the escape from Midgar.
I could see it going to there.
Which is important because that's where Cloud has his flashback.
Yeah.
And figured, like,
so,
Sephiroth peeling off because of Genova.
I did watch Giant Bomb put up, and a bunch of outlets put up videos of when press got to go see the game a week before the demo came out. But the Giant Bomb video, playing through that opening bit that we played through in the demo, there's the part where we're playing and Jesse says to Cloud, "You know Tifa, right?" And he kind of like looks down and he's like, "Yes, I know Tifa." Like, it, whatever. In the version that Brad played at Giant Bomb, it cuts to like the flashback scene of him and Tifa as little kids in a playground, like totally different. And like there were a couple things like that in the stuff that was in that video that we did not get in the demo. So I wonder how much they'll chop that stuff up and move, you know what I mean? Like, they could do whatever they wanted plot-wise.
You see, I took that differently because of Cloud's backstory. If you technically go back to Crisis Core and that whole thing that Cloud does at the end of that, I just assumed that it was him trying to remember who he was, which is something he has issues with in 7 constantly. And that's why he has those panic moments and stuff.
But they like... I think it works both ways, but seeing that other context of like, no, maybe in the final release, like they just flash back to that moment and show him remembering that. Like, I think they might play with the narrative a lot in this full release.
No, they do.
And maybe call forward to some things. You know what I mean? Like, you could very easily, as they're building these games out in stages, you could probably get a good, like, you could get that first town up and running visually, right? But not make it as interactive by the end of this game. Just have it where they kind of get there and that flashback happens and that's where I don't know. And then they're taking those assets and building an actual...
I could totally see that flashback segment, like the end of that, like literally that last scene of him walking away in the I could see that being like because now you have your baddie.
Yeah.
Because that's where between that part and escaping Midgard, that's like the narrative shifts there. Like you think the bad guy is Shinra, but it's not.
Right.
It shifts to Sephiroth at that point.
Yeah.
So
that's about where I fall off every time. I did make it through Midgard, but
it's gonna be interesting. I'm glad I got my hands on it. I was thinking about not playing it, but I was like, nah, let's just.
Yeah.
Oh, now, and the tutorial itself. They needed to get away from those text splash screens.
Too much.
That was like,
oh
man.
Just let me just give me a little.
Tell me how to hit square.
Yep. I get why it's there, but maybe that's just for the.
That's what I'm hoping, but probably not.
Well, the Giant Bomb video had the same stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Nah. Oh well. Well,
we are going to get to a break, and we'll come back with some news from the week. A lot of stuff happened. A lot. We'll be right back. We are back, and it is time for the new... Oh, wait a second here. Not time for the news. Looks like what does it say here? Quiz time?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Matt, now that you've officially played a Sonic the Hedgehog video game...
Oh, God, don't...
You are now certified to play Truth is Stranger Than Fan Fiction. A hot new game here on the Free Cheese Podcast where, Matt, you must discern from the following which are real and which are fan fiction Sonic characters. Are you ready?
Oh, boy. All right, here we go. Actually, I might do better because they actually like name drop a lot in that first little bit of Sonic Forces.
All right, let's
so
see.
I'm kind of excited. Probably not, though.
Mighty the Armadillo.
True.
Yes.
Or fact.
Yes, that is a real Sonic the Hedgehog character. Vector the Crocodile.
No, I don't think there's a crocodile in Sonic.
He's not only in Sonic, he's in Sonic Forces and in the opening cutscenes.
Oh, shit. All right, maybe.
Blade the Wolf.
No, the wolf's someone else. It's not Blade.
That's fan fiction. Espio the Chameleon.
No.
Yes. That's a real. Quills the Porcupine.
No.
Yeah, it's fan fiction. Charmy B.
Charmy B.
Charmy B.
Charmy B. Yeah. I hope that's real.
It is, and it's in Sonic. You should have seen it in Sonic Forces.
Charmy B?
Charmy B.
Are you saying Charlie or Charmy?
Charmy.
All right.
Charmy B.
Charmy B.
It's a bumblebee. He was buzzing around when you're...
That was a bee.
Yeah. Fang the Sniper.
No. Fan fiction.
Real.
Oh.
Surprisingly to me, too. Clinks the Weasel.
True. Fact.
Fan fiction.
Damn.
I know. Arius the Alligator.
They already have an alligator, so no.
Well, they're a crocodile. But you're right, that's fan fiction. Rouge the Bat.
Rouge sounds familiar. Yes.
Yes, that's a real character. Cream the Rabbit.
No.
Real.
All right.
Blaze the Cat.
No, it's big. Is there two cats?
There's also a Blaze the Cat, Matt, brought to you in Sonic Rush.
Great.
I think. So I'm going to tell you, I ended up this morning on a page of fan fiction characters.
Art, it's fine.
It wasn't. It's actually fandom.
Oh.
Yeah. They have a list of every fan fiction character. Probably not going to come as a big surprise, but many fan fiction characters are clearly just a little kid's first name followed by the hedgehog. And it's all listed alphabetically, so it's literally just like Amy the Hedgehog. Yeah, Alex the Hedgehog. There's a lot of Alex the Hedgehogs, Alexi the Hedgehog. I don't do there's so I mean I went through basically every letter of the alphabet because I didn't want to do I didn't want you to catch on to the pattern. You know what I mean? I got to be clever when I'm putting this shit together. But yeah, it's Christopher the Hedgehog. Like it's shit that like doesn't make any sense. So I had to really dig to try and find the ones that sounded. So kudos to whoever, if you're listening out there, and I know, of course, we are the #1 Sonic fanfiction podcast. So if you've joined us as part of that community, what do we have? Blade the Wolf, Quills the Porcupine, Clinks the Weasel, Arius the Alligator. If you are the original creators of those, they sounded legitimate enough to me, and you fell for it, mostly. Right? Did you get any of them right? The fanfiction ones?
I don't remember. I forgot that fast.
Yeah, check that. I know.
Much like I want to forget about me playing Sonic Forces.
All right. Well, let's remember the news of the week. Matt, Valorant is a video game that was revealed this week. The new shooter from
Riot.
Yeah. So this, we knew it was coming, but we didn't really know a lot about it until this week. It is officially called Valorant, am I saying that right? It's a 5v5 free-to-play shooter from the developers of League of Legends, set to launch this summer. Man, it looks like Counter-Strike to me, kind of. This is the vibe. I was expecting more Overwatch than this is.
Me too. I thought for sure it was going to try to be like that, walk that line of like it's a MOBA, but as a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
it doesn't seem like that, though.
No. Looks bad.
You think so?
Visually. But it's free to play, so like I get it.
Do you have any interest in this as someone who played Counter-Strike? I'll say this. Here's a quote from executive producer at Riot Games, Anna Donlan. Says the shooter will, quote, uphold the fundamental values of a competitive tactical shooter, precise shooting, lethal gunplay, and strategic execution.
Sure.
Time to kill is low.
Like, I think I'll check it out. Especially, I mean, I think there's going to be a player base at the start, so I think it's worth checking out. I mean, I think my favorite part, I was reading the article from IGN when this was announced. I think my favorite part is the PC specs, where you can get high-end 144 frames per second with a good old Intel Core i5.
I mean, do you need much more?
And a 1050 Ti.
Yeah.
Which I looked that up before this, and you're fine with probably most
modern. Yeah. I want to check them. That the Riot stuff has been. I've been intrigued by it. I've never played I never played League. Not to say any of their games, but I never played League. Didn't try Teamfight Tactics because Dota Underlords was enough. But I'm interested. I don't know. This stuff is fascinating to watch as that brand gets bigger.
I want the news on the game I'm most excited about. The esports manager. Where's that news? I need that news. I don't care about the shooter.
It's coming.
I want to manage my esports team to success.
Well, speaking of success, Stadia not finding a ton of success, as
joke.
We know. There was an article from Business Insider this week that stated that developers told them that Google didn't offer enough money. So when asked to make games for Stadia, developers said no. Almost that the idea was kind of a joke.
Yep.
So, Matt, how do you fix this? You're given the keys to Stadia. Yeah. First, you change the name to Stadia. Second, how do you fix it? What's the idea?
All right. I got 2 plans here.
All right.
Plan A. Hire, 1, Jack Tretton and Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Done.
Just do that.
Done.
And they don't have to do anything. Just hire them, and you win.
All right.
Drop the mic. That's plan A. In case Jack Tretton, his dick's too large for the office space they're
Sure.
trying to provide
It very well might be, yeah.
We're gonna try this. This is my real thing. I think Stadia and Google has to understand that they're at the point now where they need to eat money to make money. Much like how Phil Spencer we talked about last week.
Yeah, we talked about last week with Game Pass.
He didn't say they were losing money, but if you read between the lines, he
didn't say they were making a ton of money on Game Pass, right? He didn't say how profitable it was.
Yeah, so I think they're at the point where they need to eat money, and I think you gotta do it drastically. I think you have to start by offering a 3-month free trial for Stadia.
Well, they're going to have that total free tier soonish, right?
Okay.
Like, that's coming this year.
And so that does a couple things. One, it gets people that are like mildly interested to join, and it's not as long enough for people not to necessarily be worried about, oh, I got canceled in a week or whatever. Because that's how I feel about some of that stuff. And like it gives you a real chance to like actually test. I know you can do speed tests and Google will say yay or nay, but actually see it in action run. Ooh, is that something good going on there?
It's got a good dream going on.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a wag.
Or he's just excited about my Stadia plan. I
He
don't know.
does. I think he really likes your Stadia plan.
So 3-month free trial, and then also you have to do the second part of this because if you get Stadia for free, you still have to buy the fucking games. It's just the dumbest thing in the world. So I guess keep that for now to see if it works, but just do the full and Epic Games approach with their store. Remember, last year they were offering
just
a bunch of free games, and I think the first 2 games in this plan you offer are Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Destiny 2 with all the DLC. Shadowkeep. What was the latest one?
Shadowkeep is the latest one, yeah.
Have it there. And the Destiny thing is an important one because that one gets your player base on Stadia to bump up, and so that way your current subscribers stay subscribed to keep playing Destiny. Also, if anyone's played Destiny 2 before, with Cloud Save, it's easy to bring over that character to Stadia, where you can just kind of play on Chrome wherever you're at with a decent internet connection.
All right, my counter. Why am I not just playing Destiny via remote play on my phone through that app, or through either the Steam Link app or the PlayStation Remote Play app?
I don't think the casual audience knows much about those remote play apps. Because granted, like they work, like you could definitely do that, but
I know also the idea is that like this is coming. You don't have to worry about your local internet at home piping that stuff up to then come down to your device.
That was what I was going to say. Like, if God forbid you play games at work, I can just open up Chrome and be good.
No,
or
yeah,
on the road, or like when 5G gets an eventual rollout here, I think 5G, all the rumors are, it'd be fast enough to support this kind of stuff. So like, I think the future is bright there, but I think like especially the free trial there, like
I think that helps. I think your example about Epic though, the thing there is that, like Epic like put money into those things and got games in the library. Right now there's still like 40-ish games on Stadia.
Yeah, it's not good.
And it's not stuff that you could give away. Like they could give away both the ones you talked about, but a lot of what you see on Epic is like, oh shit, I know that game. Like it's a cool indie game, or it's something like that. Like some of them are definitely not just indie titles on the Epic Game Store. Like I think they gave away every Batman game ever made.
Alan Wake. That's how I played Alan Wake.
Right, like,
and then the American Nightmare.
Yeah,
the sequel.
Yeah.
But
a lot of that stuff, like the stuff, this article, Business Insider calls out stuff like Bloodstained, Shovel Knight, Dead Cells, Untitled Goose Game. Like those are huge and everywhere, right? Like they were all, if you look, each of those like big on Switch. Why not on Stadia?
And Stadia's going to start to run into the problem that the Wii U had, where like Wii U didn't push enough hardware after its life cycle, so the developers, it was a waste of their time. With this, like if you get your subscriber count up, you can then, maybe you don't pay them or whatever, but you can say, hey, look at our platform. This is another way for you guys to make money, and we have this many people that could buy your game.
Yeah.
The point they got to do something. They got to do something radical now, I think, because it's becoming a joke fast.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was initially, and it doesn't seem like it's just getting any better. However, to counter that, there was a lift, maybe. Stadia announced that Shannon Studstill from Sony Santa Monica Studios will run a new studio in Los Angeles this week.
So first party, maybe.
Yeah, so...
I guess, yeah.
I mean, they did this last year when they announced that Jade Raymond would join as Vice President of Stadia Games and Entertainment. And Jade Raymond said in a post this week that Studstill Studio will focus on delivering exclusive games using new gameplay mechanics, creative ways to play together, and unique interaction models that we're just starting to explore. Which, those are those things. But, it seems like a move to try and justify some sort of longevity or like, reiterate the... Because I think a lot of
the commitment.
Right. I think a lot of the hesitation with developers and with players is this going to be a thing that Google just drops in another year when it doesn't work?
Yeah, because Google has done that before.
Exactly.
One thing I want to ask, like, that article from, I think it was Business Insider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the announcement of that, do you think that was a direct rebuttal or just very coincidental timing?
I mean, it's definitely convenient that they had that news to announce this week, but at the same time, right behind it, Sony Santa Monica announced that Yumi Yang is the new studio head there, so it's not like things weren't kind of like prepped, you know what I mean? For it to be completely reactionary, maybe they had the news and were holding on to the news until they needed the news cycle, you know what I mean? I don't know, but...
it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
It's not in a good spot, and it's going to be tough. Like, it launched bad, and you can only launch a platform once. Like, a platform, but like that's what everyone says about a game, right? You only have one opportunity to launch.
Yeah, I've tried xCloud on my phone. I got into that iOS beta, and right now the only game supported is Master Chief Collection. But it fucking works. And it's like, it's my game. You know what I mean? Like, it picks up my profile. When I hit the fucking Xbox button, it pulls up the sidebar and shows me what I'd see. You know what I mean? Like, it fucking works. And the second that can immediately play my entire Xbox library and the Game Pass library, why do I need Stadia? Right? And then you couple that with PlayStation. That was a thing. I had that PlayStation Now subscription a couple months ago. And after canceling it, I got an email survey asking just general questions. And the main piece of feedback that I gave was, I think the tech's great. I think that it worked well for streaming. I loved the option to download the PS4 games locally and have them for offline play. But I wanted all of my PS3 games not to be trapped in my PS3 anymore. I wanted all my PSP digital titles not to be trapped in my PSP or Vita anymore. I want that whole, like, PlayStation Now to me should be not just your subscription library, but everything I've ever acquired. And I think that's the way that PlayStation kind of has to go to stay competitive with what Microsoft's going to do with xCloud. And when that happens, again, doubly, why do I need Stadia? Unless I just never had those platforms. And maybe the thing is, by the time Stadia gets to a point where... Because when Google bought YouTube back then, it was like 15-second video uploads.
Yeah, I don't think you could surpass 10 minutes at that point.
10 minutes. I don't know why I'm saying 15 seconds.
Fine.
You couldn't have more than 10-minute uploads or whatever, and it was very limited. And not that anyone said or questioned it being a good business move, like not in the way that we're questioning Stadia, and also everyone's way too hyper aware with all these what every company's doing now, and everyone thinks they have a fucking reason to talk because there's a microphone or you know what I mean? Like everyone has a platform now to say something. So I feel like conversations are different now than they were then. Still, the acquisition of something like YouTube there was nothing like YouTube, right? So buying it, it's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. There's nothing like YouTube. We didn't know what it would become. And maybe the idea is that YouTube then growing into what it is now, maybe Stadia now growing into the next generation of You know, like that YouTube generation growing up that's looking to play games. I can see that, but for me, I don't know why I need it.
I really think Google thought this was an easier market to enter than what they anticipated.
I wonder
than
that.
what's going on. Because
I wonder if it's that, or if they knew this would exactly happen, right? Like you have to have somebody who.
But why waste all that money then?
Because you believe in the future of it, right? Like I can see a world where Stadia is a success and it is as ubiquitous as YouTube is, right? Like that idea that they pitched, that initial, I think it was GDC last year, right around there. Yeah. That initial like, hey, here's what it is. It is selling like a promising future. The idea that you could be watching a game, someone play a game on YouTube and then just jump right in, or you could be playing something and then get help from somebody. Like all of those things, I think that is a future to believe in. So I can understand putting the money into it. I just don't know that. I don't know that it's found its audience yet. Because trying to sell it to us, I don't think is the right idea.
No. Because you just listed off 3 other ways to play your libraries.
Yeah. But then you get the TikTok generation, right? Like, that's never going to sell to me. But there's a whole generation.
I have TikTok on my phone. I'll watch things from time to time. I guess I'm the.
Did you try Byte?
No.
Yeah. I'm curious how Byte is standing out against TikTok.
It's not.
TikTok's still dominant?
Yeah, man.
Wow. I didn't expect that. Just like I didn't expect Antonio Banderas to join Uncharted because I thought that movie was never going to come out or do anything. I thought we were just
like a slow crawl to the finish line of this film being made.
Is it going to be good?
No.
Okay.
There's no way. That movie's been in development hell for like 8 years.
I'm trying to think of an example of something that just kind of floundered for a while that ended up being, I mean, Doom, not the movie, but the game, right? Like what they did in 2016 had gone through so many iterations. That turned out badass. Game of the Year 2016. But I don't know.
I guess you could say Final Fantasy 15 in some regard.
Yeah, it turned out all right. A movie, though. I'm trying to think.
I don't...
Terry Gilliam's Don Quixote, but I didn't watch the final product. I just know he's been trying to make that movie for 30 years, and he had so many different actors in the... I don't know.
Idea.
I don't know. But it eventually will come out.
I mean, it didn't drag along for years, but the issue with recasting Rami Malek in the Queen movie.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of hell. That turned out to be good.
It turned out to be fine. Like, I watched it once. I was like, that was a good movie.
I liked it.
It was fine. I guess while we're on the silver screen, why don't we take a detour to a later news story? But The Last of Us is in the works at HBO, being kind of written and executive produced by both Neil Druckmann of Naughty Dog, who, co-created The Last of Us, along with Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin.
Bring it on.
Yeah, and that movie's canceled that they were going to do with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
it would have been tough to make that a movie. It would have been real tough.
It feels like pacing would work better as a show, and you could set up those seasonal things. And now we think about The Last of Us 2 and where the time jump goes. Like, you could theoretically make a long ass Game of Thrones style. You know what I mean? You could do that. 2 questions: will you watch it?
Yeah.
Second question: who would you hire to cameo as a clicker? If you could have one thing where you're sitting down and you're snacking on popcorn and jelly beans, watching The Last of Us, and you look at the screen and you're like, "Is that who's the guy or the girl that you're? Huh? Is that Shannon Elizabeth? Like
what happened to Shannon?
Whatever happened? What's your cameo?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore.
It could be pretty good.
I was thinking like a legitimate one that would make a lot of sense, like a Greg Miller.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't going there at all.
Yeah, I know. That's all I can think of is someone like deserving.
But I feel like Greg Miller would find a way in.
I Fred Durst.
There it is. There it is. The fanatic himself. Oh, boy. Speaking of Fred Durst.
Development hell by chance?
Nah, I think he just made it. That was a damn good movie. Speaking of Fred Durst, Death Stranding coming out for the personal computer June 2nd. There's going to be a Half-Life crossover.
Bring it on.
Sam has a ponytail with a Half-Life
Sure.
and widescreen support. I saw this on Twitter. Kojima was showing the difference between what standard screen and widescreen looks like. Much wider screen, Matt.
Who would have thought?
Totally different aspect ratio. Will you play this again?
In a different year, I would have.
Interesting.
Because I'm sure this... I've always liked the environment and the world building in that game, and I think like on my computer it will look amazing and different enough to like warrant like at least to sit down for another couple hours and mess around with it on like a sale or something. But I think this year is a little too packed for me to go through that again.
Yeah, spend another 80 hours.
Yeah, so no, but Half-Life thing is weird, but random.
But yeah, June 2nd, Steam and Epic Games Store. March 29th, however, 10th anniversary of Nier, and Square Enix has said that it will do something for its anniversary. The producer Yosuke Saito and director Yoko Taro tweeted that they will be doing something to commemorate the 10th anniversary, no matter how big or small. Saito first tweeted, "I'll do something on March 29th. At worst, even if it's just Yoko-san and I, we'll do something because it's the 10th anniversary. We'll hold it for 10 hours straight." What do you think it is?
Then my question to you, what is your expectation? Then your follow-up question, seriously, what is going to happen? I think nothing.
I could see them just fucking streaming the original game or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
they're not remastering that game. Like, they're not porting it.
If they are remastering it, I don't think any real work has been done on it. Maybe they'd announce it that day. You know what I mean? Do you think this is Platinum's third? You think it's a good day for them to announce their next thing?
That's too big. That's like way too big for what this stream is.
For what this stream is, but maybe by that point, I don't know. They're underselling it. Hopefully,
I think
you think it's. Just
I think you're. That's why, like, I'm like, so, like, what really do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's somewhere next to nothing.
No, yeah, I'm okay.
They might announce a sticker pack.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd be down with that. And then we can be pleasantly surprised when anything happens. Just like we were pleasantly surprised this week when Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary joined the PC release of Master Chief Collection as they continue on that release schedule.
It's funny. I was thinking about that earlier in the week before this news came out. I was like, when is like the next thing in the Master Chief Collection coming out for PC?
Boom. There it is.
Which is my command.
I didn't start it yet, but I do want to see it just to see how it feels. Because we played a little bit of Reach not too long ago, which I had a hard time adjusting to because we were right off Quake Live into Halo Reach, which wasn't a great transition, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to jump into it, but I'll definitely check it out just to see. It's nice now to not just have Reach when you go to make a multiplayer playlist. Like you can bounce now between that and regular as Halo. Fortunately, it's like on the later half of it, but once 3 comes around, I think that's when I'll really start jumping back into Master Chief Collection multiplayer on PC.
Speaking of jumping back in, it looks like EA is ready to enter the world of Star Wars again. A European PlayStation Network listing revealed one Star Wars Project Maverick.
All right.
It seems like it's one of the titles we predicted a couple weeks ago. What do you think Project Maverick is?
I was reading around when this was announced, and I can't remember. Or maybe... No, it was about this. It had to be about this. I was reading around that this might prelude into Rogue One.
Interesting.
Which, in Star Wars fodder and lore, for those that don't know, Episode 4 starts off with Vader attacking a ship because Princess Leia has plans for the Death Star. Mm-hmm. Rogue One, the movie, is about the team that retrieved the plans, or the blueprints to the Death Star, and the weakness to Princess Leia. So this might lead into that even more, because that was more character-focused, Rogue One. So, I don't know.
There's a couple little details, kind of, from Gematsu. The content ID suggests it's a beta test version. There's no VR support listed. There's a play together parameter suggesting it has multiplayer. And there's an MP3 you can listen to of the music that plays from the PS4 home screen. You know, when you kind of like hover over it. But what do you think? What's your wildest guess and what's your dream? What do you want this to be?
Fallen Order 2.
Okay. What do you expect it to be?
Not Fallen Order 2. I don't know. I would be game for like. Oh, I think this may be the other thing I was reading too. Like, there has not been a space shooter dedicated just space shooting since like Starfighter or what was the one I was like on like PS2, GameCube, and all that. I can see the box art and I can't. Jedi Starfighter or something, I don't know.
Sure.
But there hasn't been like a dedicated like pilot like sim, and like I know Battlefront 2 gets into that a little bit, but it's not like that's not what that game is. I think, you know, if you look at how polished and that kind of stuff is now, like Ace Combat, I think you could do a lot in Star Wars lore. So I'd be curious to see if they do something along there. I don't think you need a shooter. I don't think you need like let Respawn handle the lightsaber mechanic. Let DICE continue with the shooter, and let's do something else. Whether it's like a strategy game or something like that. There hasn't been one of those from.
Yeah, I'd like to see a switch of a genre.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of switching genres, as Square Enix continues to baffle us with its promotional tie-in items, Butterfinger, Crunch, Nestle Crunch, and Baby Ruth will offer you DLC if you buy them and put the codes into your... This is the weirdest...
I love it.
But it's not just like, hey, here's a... Like, you can't just buy the item and then get the code and then you get the thing. It's like, you need to buy specific products. Like, you have to string it all together. It's a very...
I'm looking at the page, right? Buy 2 participating products, comma, upload your receipt, comma, and score unique DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake, asterisk. Unique DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake available on April 10, 2020 with the game release. Participating products must be purchased by 5/14. Receipts can be uploaded through 5/31. And an exclusive PS4 theme featuring Tifa Lockhart.
But there's 5 different items you can get, so you do have to buy 10 of these fucking things if you want that. So here's what you can get. A Midgar bangle. What's a bangle?
Oh, isn't that like the wrist thing? Isn't that what Tifa wears?
Let's go with that. A Shinra bangle. Corneo's armlet. Is that how you say his name? Corneo? A Superstar belt. A belt declaring one's status as a superstar, just in case you were wondering what that is. And a Mako crystal. I have no idea. Now, here's the sad part. As you know from a previous episode, the new Butterfingers taste like shit.
Yep.
So who would want to buy them?
Well, that alien.
Bullshit. I do have one sub-note on Final Fantasy VII. A interview started happening with people involved with the remake project. And in one said interview, the producer of Final Fantasy VII Remake thinks that it would be a waste not to return to Parasite Eve. He said that... Let me see who it was. Sorry. Yoshinori Kitase, director of the original Final Fantasy VII and producer of the remake. It was during an interview on Square Enix's official YouTube channel with Japanese wrestler Kenny Omega. He brought up the fact that Kitase was producer for The Third Birthday, released in 2010, and asked if he would like to see more Parasite Eve in the future. Kitase said, the characters are very deep and rich, especially Ayabrea. I don't know of any plans right now, but it would be a waste not to use those characters. Omega kind of responded, wondering remake, that kind of thing, and just said horror games are very popular right now, and Parasite Eve had some RPG elements to it. It was very original and unique, so I think now is a good time. Parasite Eve has a very unique game style. There are no games like it right now. Kind of pushing the idea of how Resident Evil 2 was very good, and obviously Resident Evil 3 now coming. Playing Parasite Eve for the first time, a year ago or so?
Yeah.
I started it. That still, I love that whole combat. We talked earlier about not being able to think of a game that had a good feel to it. Just the way that they carve game world exploration with cutting into battles and that it just flows so well. It's a unique, weird thing. It's like sphere grid. By the way, Final Fantasy VII demo transitions. It just was seamless.
Oh yeah, it looked great. Like I said, PlayStation 4's final form.
Last of Us 2?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. How about Ghost of Tsushima?
Dude, I watched that story trailer.
Yeah.
I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah.
I want to see gameplay a little bit more.
Yeah. I don't know. I loved all of Sucker Punch's games. This one, don't know. But you can know on June 26th. There's a new story trailer, details on the special edition, collector's edition, and digital deluxe edition.
All your SKUs.
That's all of them. Finally, our last news story of the week. The Nintendo PlayStation sold at an auction for $360,000. This is after, I believe I read that someone offered $1 million and the owner of it said that he could get more money by putting it up for auction. I don't know if you know math, but this was originally the property of former Sony Computer Entertainment America president Olaf Olafsson. It was later purchased at a property auction by a man named Terry Diebold. Diebold kept it in his attic until 2015, when it was rediscovered by his son, who then shared it on Reddit, and that's kind of where it's been. Terry Diebold told Kotaku in December that he had turned down a $1.2 million offer on the device prior to the auction. There you go. No name for who bought it. Not revealed.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
It's a weird piece of tech, and it is like a huge point in this industry's history.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's been documented well enough that you can learn about it, and it's, you know what I mean? But it would be neat if it were somewhere to see it, you know?
Yeah.
But, well,
So
that is
weird.
it for the news for the week. But we're not done yet. Matt,
What up?
the PlayStation 2
Oh, great console.
released 20 years ago in Japan this week, and many people have been celebrating the original launch of it. One thing, I retweeted it. I believe I retweeted it because John Ricciardi of 8.4 had retweeted it. But it's the story of the PS2's backwards compatibility from the engineer who built it. You can find that on my Twitter and read it. But it was a really cool story. Writer by the name of Tom James wrote this, translated a series of blog posts by the guy who did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also reached out to, the name's Tetsuya Aida, about more details and got more clarification. So it's kind of one flowing article, just kind of detailing what it was like to get that up and running, why it was, and all of that. It's really fascinating. When did you get a PS2 first? What was your...
some Christmas. I just don't remember which one.
Do you remember what you got for it? What was the...
I remember one game. It was one of those packs. It was one of those like Costco, Sam's Club thing where, you get like the extra controller, a memory card is all kind of bundled with it. I remember getting Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. I cannot remember the other game. The song else came with it. And then, I guess that would have been Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 as well.
Okay, that was a little bit... Yeah. So
I don't know if that was the year it came out or the year after, but yeah.
I don't remember. I know that 3... I think 3 was the one that bridged the gap because it came out...
It came out on both because I have 3 on PlayStation 1.
Yeah. I remember it came out on both. I remember we were at a skate park and it was like 2 days before the launch of the game and they were throwing copies into the audience and one touched my fucking fingertip and then skated past, no pun intended, past me to the person behind me and they got a copy of Tony Hawk 3 for,
Damn, sorry.
Yeah. I remember, I've told this story before on the podcast, but I remember my brother and I sold so much shit at a yard sale so we could make money.
Oh, Jack and Daxter.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Had you played Crash? You played Crash at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We sold everything. We sold our NES and our Genesis thinking we'd get enough money for the PS2. And technically we should have, but, and you think about like today's market for those things, we would have gotten more money than we did then because by then the hot new thing was the PS2 and who wants these old things? And even though it like hurt us to get rid of our stuff, we were like, well, we want the new one, so let's do it. And I think we had this weird like, itch for independence or something like that where we wanted to do it on our own and feel like working man or some bullshit. So we sold it all for next to nothing. I sold all of my Pokemon cards. And I had original like fucking Charizard and Blastoise, like all the big all that shit. We didn't have enough to buy the PS2 after everything we sold. And then I think we got it for Christmas, but I don't remember what we did with the money. We had it was a silver tin that like a watch came in. And we stabbed a hole in the top of it, and we wrote PlayStation 2 money on it. And we'd keep all of our money in there. It was in my like sock drawer or something.
Stab the hole in it.
Well, we wanted it to be like a piggy bank, but it didn't have a piggy bank slot.
Yeah, makeshift one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like I never look back at the PS2 era with like the fondest of, you know what I mean? Like I don't have like.
No, really?
Doe eyes for it? Yeah, I don't know. PS1 I remember really fondly. PS2 came for me, let's see, it launched when I would have been 12. And not that I wasn't playing games, but then we got to the point where, like right after PS2 launched, that was the beginning of the GTA stuff. So I got into those, obviously, the Tony Hawk era, Guitar Hero, like it was a lot of those things. I wasn't exploring a lot or playing a lot of weird things. Like we'd rent stuff and try things out and whatever, but I never had like my gaming taste severely broadened as I got older. And I remember, not that I stopped playing video games or had one of those like hard outs, but for a few years it was not like I got way into learning how to play guitar and being 14 and an asshole. You know what I mean? Like it's just like PS2 era was those teenage years for me where I was kind of like doing everything, not just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation 2, I think that was like the first console out. Like I played a lot on my PlayStation, and I remember wanting it, but I think like when I finally got that PS2, I was like, yeah, like, and then I have a bunch of friends that had it, and we were sharing games left and right, and I think that's where like I started playing like all the time was the PlayStation 2. I think one of my favorite memories, and this is later down the road. That's probably right. PlayStation 3 might be on its way out, or maybe just after. But I finally secured, because I had the Fat Boy, the original. Yeah. I had finally secured all the pieces. The install disc, the network adapter.
Oh, wow.
And I fucking got it all together. And I remember that first thing of, like, I'm playing Madden online and instantly getting my ass kicked. And I was like, oh, shit.
This is after the end of the PS3's era? Is that what you said?
No. Going into PS3.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, they still have the servers up for that?
No. Yeah. God, no. Actually, EA used to leave their sports servers up for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I remember just like finally hopping online for stuff and like all these, like all this stuff.
I never did that on PS2. That's wild.
Like I remember playing a bunch of FIFA. I know like SOCOM was like the competitive game at the time, so like I was like launching to SOCOM. I was getting my ass beat there. It's like, it's like the introduction of what led to my massacre of PSN messages.
If only they had the messaging system back then.
If only.
Yeah, I mean, still, that's our original PS2 fat from way back when.
MLB The Show.
That started way back. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. That one's the one where a TV fell on it. Not a big TV. We had like a little 10-inch TV that used to be our kitchen TV, and then we had that in our living room. I don't know how the fuck we played video games on that thing. But it was like, I mean, it was the fucking, I'm on a tiny little laptop. You know what? 11-inch iPad. Bigger than the fucking TV we had. By the way, we had a big, giant, like, you know, one of those big, heavy back CRTs. Mm-hmm. We had that. But no, we still plugged it into this teeny tiny 10, whatever. And that was on a tiny little, like, side table that was, like, flimsy as shit, that if you, like, bumped at it the wrong way, all the legs would fall off. So, at one point, I don't know, we pulled a controller or a trip. I don't know what the fuck even happened. The table, the legs come out, the TV falls, and the TV falls right on the PlayStation 2. The disc shoots out, the whole disc drive shoots out, and then just blue screen flashing, all this weird shit. We're like, fuck. We thought we broke everything. PlayStation 2 definitely didn't work. The TV was fine, but the PS2, it still has it too. I'll show you when we're not recording, but there's little white lines from like the speaker of the thing. And it didn't work like we literally went out the next day and we had to buy another. It was like a couple years into us owning it. Went out the next day and had to buy another one. And I don't know. This is the one I ended up, you know, through the years of moving and changing places and whatever. Like I still have that one. And I kind of just kept it just cuz, but I plugged it in. Totally fucking works. I don't know why. Don't know. Not questioning it. No idea. Yeah, I still love that thing. And the backwards compatibility, I think, is a huge part. Because I was still, like, I loved my PS1 library. And Symphony of the Night, specifically, you know, my whole history with that. But I ended up playing that. And I beat that for the first time on a PS2. Because I didn't beat it until high school when someone was like, you know, there's a whole, like, upside down thing, and I was like, what the fuck? And I like went back to it and did it all in there. But yeah, that's a good. They should make the PS5 look like that. Just turn the 2 upside down, make the box look basically just the same, without the memory cards, maybe.
Yeah, we don't need memory cards.
No.
I saw on a Reddit thread, someone was like, "Today I learned that the PlayStation 2 emblem turned." I was like,
man,
fucking rookie mistake. I knew that shit.
Yeah. No, I texted my brother the other morning when everybody started like doing their little nostalgia trips and posting their top 20 PlayStation 2 games and whatever. And I just said, he was like, oh my, because I sent him a picture. He was like, look at the fucking lights, like the blue and the green. He's like, that brings back so many memories. And I was like, I know, you remember the little PS logo could rotate? And he was like, holy shit.
I went ahead. I wrote down a couple notable games that I remember playing.
Yeah, what do you got?
Jak and Daxter, Metal Gear Solid 2. That was the entry point for me in that franchise, and I wear the Metal Gear Solid hoodie right now.
Oh yeah.
GTA 3, of course.
Yeah.
I remember not being allowed to get that, and it wasn't until much later I just got it from a Target. I got the double collection.
I remember we were in a Blockbuster, and it was, I don't even know. It was probably after PS2 was out, or it was right before GTA 3. And we saw GTA 2, and just something about it, the cover, we're like, this is cool. We wanted to rent it, and we were showing to my mom, like, yeah, we want to rent it. And there was a guy who, I mean, we would have been like, I don't know, 12 and 9
I remember
or something like that.
some of the story, yeah.
And then this guy was there, he's clearly older. And my mom was like, I don't know, what do you think? Is this? And he was like, oh, it's so good. He's like, and they're making a new one that's like totally crazy and in 3D, and you are the guy. Like, you get to be the guy and run around. And we're like, what? We rented it and we loved it. And then we convinced our mom to buy us a copy of GTA 2. This is the greatest hits version or whatever from Target. And the inside pamphlet on the back of it had a GTA 3 ad, and we saw the screenshots.
It was like the
first
three
time.
screenshots.
We're like, holy fucking shit! And that was, as soon as we got a PS2, it was like we had to have that game, and it was just game over from that point.
Yep. Free Cheese Hall of Fame.
That's true.
It's not up there.
Yeah,
but,
no, yeah.
It's the only one that's virtual. First time I played Resident Evil 4 was on PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah.
SSX Tricky, probably still one of the best snowboarding games ever, probably the best.
Yeah, I need that to come back.
Yeah, in a good way, not that last reboot that was like,
No.
eh. I remember playing SOCOM and being extremely bad at them. I remember, did you try to be,
A friend of mine did.
The microphone, and you could try to speak to it to do the commands instead of just fucking hitting the buttons. It never worked.
A friend of mine had that.
It's terrible.
Like, I remember going over and being like, "This is like a weird." I felt like I was in like an episode of X-Files or something. Like I didn't understand quite what was going on. It felt weird to me, and
yeah.
But those were great. Was that your list?
I was gonna say the Tony Hawk game that's not numbered that I like best, Tony Hawk Underground.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep, and then Final Fantasy X, the first and I think only Final Fantasy game I've ever beaten, and I've beaten it at least 2 times at this point.
I never played that one. That was the one I remember. Like we were excited about GTA and Tony Hawk, and I don't even know what else. SSX was a big one. And I remember my one friend who was way into Final Fantasy stuff, like couldn't shut up about 10. And I thought it looked like the most boring fuck. I was like, we use people swimming? I don't want to do like that's all. But...
Oh, and honorable mention, underrated.
Yeah.
And is the best wrestling game that's not on an N64. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
Good character creator?
I think so. I just remember that game had like the best story mode. Like it would just go through the year. Like you just keep on going. It was great. Cool. There was all these like different decisions and everything. It was so good. And it like the wrestling wasn't complicated yet either. It was still just like basic.
Yeah, it's
grapple.
Too much now.
It's a mess. That's if the game can work, you know. In the year 2020, you got to make sure it can boot right.
I also remember. I think for me, I played fewer games during that era, but I played them for a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Like, I put so much time into Tony Hawk's Underground, into Need for Speed Underground. Like, just getting the perfect car, the perfect look of a car, and, like, maxing
cool
out whatever. Like, all of that stuff. I had every fucking thing.
Now we got Manu.
I PS2's been one in the last, I would say, year or so that I've started to think about a whole lot, where I kind of wanted to flesh out a bit more of that library, because I feel like I did good with, I still have most of our stuff from that era, but there's stuff that I want to play that I never did play that I've been like, I should pick that up and play that. And
so much, like a lot of that stuff was good. Like I remember a lot of good stuff.
It's a
Spider-Man
fantastic
2?
library. Yeah.
Before this one, it was probably the best Spider-Man.
That one. I remember renting that a bunch. I remember... I don't know. That was definitely a rental period. Because we don't have a ton of physical...
Well, that was like the first, or one of the price up.
Yeah,
bumps.
The price went up, but then they started
50.
like incentivizing you with different things where it'd be like, I don't know, I think we did like the summer rental program or whatever, where you got...
Yeah,
it was like a flat rate and that kind of thing. And I remember doing a lot of that. I remember, fucking Manhunt. Did you ever play Manhunt?
I never played it.
Such a weird.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but I never played it.
That
was when Rockstar was weird.
Yeah, now they're pretty boring.
Predictable.
I guess that's a better word. I don't know. I'm looking up.
Was table tennis, was that the next generation?
360, yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Rockstar made a ping pong game.
Oh, man. All right. I have an article here on the freecheese.com. The top 5 PS2 classics I want on PS4. This is from 2015.
All right, blast from the past.
When they first announced that. Here's the top 5, and I think I prefaced this by saying, like, these will never happen. Or, like, I think I maybe said, like, what's the likelihood of these? But I had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
All right.
That is, like, the fucking pinnacle for me. Manhunt, which did come out. They did put that out, and I didn't buy it, so fucking foot in my mouth. NBA Street. That is a long lost franchise.
I forgot about NBA Street and NFL Street. Oh, God, they were so good.
I know. I should write again. Listen to this. In this article, I said, Dear EA, please stop trying with NBA Live. You're not going to make us want it. You had a great thing with NBA Street. If you make another one, I'll buy it. A lot of people will buy it. Yeah. That was fun.
Stop with NBA Live.
And that was one where, like, you had all those stories in the 90s of, like, kids doing bad shit because they saw it on Beavis and Butthead. We did not bad shit. We did shit because we saw it in NBA Street. We went to gym class and we try and replicate those moves.
Yeah, to no success.
Hell no, we pulled one off.
Oh.
My one friend got this. I thought physically, humanly impossible. Hold the ball over the back and through the legs.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it was a thing, and this kid, Eric, figured out how to do that, like bend his body in a weird way. And he could fucking...
Like consistently?
He'd be like dribbling and like over his back, under his leg. Oh! Yeah, it was like made no sense. And then we did figure out, me and my friend figured out the throw it at the backboard so that it flies to half court and then get the half court shot. I
love that.
He didn't have a high success rate with that, but he got really good at these half court fucking, Hail Mary shots. And I got really good at getting it to hit and fly back. Anyway, Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yep.
And SSX. That was the other one on here. Not a bad list.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 2. Any other final thoughts on PlayStation 2?
It's good shit.
Yeah, maybe I'll pop something in there today and see. I need to get another DualShock or DualShock 2 because I have. I think I've got them. Mine, the thumbsticks on mine are real greasy, and I don't know why.
All that pizza.
I think they sat in my dad's attic for a while and maybe melted. It's because it's that kind of thing. It's not. It's like I tried cleaning
not a pizza
it.
Grease.
Yeah, I tried cleaning it, and it's like a stickiness.
Yeah,
it's gross. Yeah. Well, that is gonna do it for us on another episode of the Free Cheese Podcast. Oh no, I gotta figure out a bet. C3 get canceled in the next week?
No, not yet. That's too soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If we don't have one, we don't have to force one.
Just trying to look through the news real quick.
You know what? No bet.
All right.
We'll let it come up organically, but I will say happy birthday on Thursday to one Ben Barris. Reach out to him on Twitter if you know him. If you don't. It's weird. I mean, if you don't, you know what I mean. You understand. It'll be fine. You can always email us and wish us happy birthdays, even when it's not. podcast@thefreecheese.com. Ask us anything. I'm gonna call it on the pop socket. Nobody wrote in and asked for that pop socket.
All right.
I'm gonna maybe just give it to somebody
Fair
on
enough.
the street. Hey you. You know what I mean? Do one of those.
Hey yo.
Yeah. And they'll say, what do you want? And they'll say, ice cream cake. But besides that, would you like pop socket? Trade you one ice cream cake for one pop socket. And if I'm getting ice cream cake,
that's a bad trade for the person with the ice cream cake.
What if they're allergic to ice cream? And they love pop sockets with Coca-Cola logo.
If you can find that person, bring them onto the show. There's a lot of questions I have.
All right. I could find them. You can follow us all on Twitter. The Free Cheese is at some Free Cheese. Matt is at MattyIce131, and I am at the Free Cheese. That's it. Final words? Final thoughts?
What are you playing?
Ooh. Fucking Warframe, dude.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel bad about that.
It never ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's one of those. Like, Destiny 2 doesn't end.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong because Warframe at least is a quality game. As long as you don't say Sonic Forces.
I am going to keep poking at that.
Why?
Just
you see, that's
stage.
the dumb decision.
I just gotta know, you know?
You know. I know. I played 3 missions.
I don't know.
And it's not great.
What are you getting into?
Keep stabbing away at that Dark Souls Platinum. But new stuff starts coming up for me this week.
Got baseball?
Baseball will be coming out. And I think Ori drops this week as well.
Oh, yeah. I played a little bit of that last weekend.
Oh, nice.
I hate that save system a lot.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Only because it... Yeah. I was starting to get it and enjoy the hook of the combat, and then it was like...
You died and forgot to save, didn't you?
Yeah, die and I forget to save. And it just sucked retreading all that again. Only because it was such short bursts, or I don't know, or there were little things where I felt like it should have checkpointed me and it didn't. I think you talked about all this. I played it, I probably put 2 hours in there, something like that.
You're like almost halfway done.
Yeah, I know, but it was still just like, it was like one final time where it happened. I was like, fuck, I'm going to go play Castlevania. And I just went and played Castlevania.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the story in this one either because I think Xbox tweeted X amount of days to more tears with a crying emoji. And I was like, God damn it, again? Damn. Yeah. Not again.
Never let me go.
So yeah, new stuff. Dude, the roller coaster. We're starting to teeter the edge.
Summer looks empty though, so Nintendo's got to announce some shit.
Any good roller coaster goes up and down.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to get through that first initial climb, and then we're going to hit the fucking downhill room.
Yeah.
Not downhill jam like the bad Tony Hawk game, but...
Yeah, speaking of PS2. That's Wii. Never mind. Right?
I don't know.
I think it's Wii. Yeah, you're right.
Right there. We're teetering.
I know.
Teetering.
We got, what, 2 more episodes before?
One more.
One more? And then that Friday... Yeah, you're right.
One more.
Oh, gosh.
And then...
Yeah. Did I tell you? All right, final thing. We'll close out on it. I was in a store, I was wearing the Doom shirt, classic logo, the one you got me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a line fucking long as shit behind me. It wasn't that long, and by the time I got up to pay, super long. I don't give a shit, right? I put my thing up, and here you go, pay, leave, right? That's how transactions work.
Yep, generally.
Until something that you're doing causes the line to be delayed longer.
Mm-mm.
And normally you're like, it's like your card fucked up or something or whatever, right? No. The guy who was very kind of like avoiding eye contact, not really like, didn't greet me or anything, you know what I mean? Nothing. Just suddenly goes, like after like I had
paid.
I think I had paid already. I think I was waiting on the receipt or whatever. He was like, nice shirt. And I was like, thanks, dude. And he was like, you excited for Doom Eternal, March 20th? And I was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait. I was really disappointed by that delay. Really took the wind out of my sails. He's like, oh, but dude, it's coming. And he like totally flipped the script. And I was like, yeah, I know. And then I'm like looking back and everyone behind me is just glaring.
Steaming.
And just so fucking mad. And I was like, I can't wait. I was like, that and Animal Crossing? He's like, yeah, Animal Crossing. But Doom. And I was like, I know.
I gets it.
And he was like, dude, the last one, did you play the last one? I was like, yeah, of course I did. And he was like, it was just so fast and so cool. He kept going. And I'm like, I'm seeing everyone now like super impatient. And the whole interaction was maybe 8-9 seconds, but it feels like 22 minutes.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah. And then I literally, he's like holding my bag hostage to keep talking about it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of reach for the bag. He kind of hands it to me. And I was like, yeah, dude, well, Slayer. And I took the bag and walked away. And I was like,
Perfect.
I tried to like get him off the Doom thing. I was like, yeah, they should remake Quake too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but this one's gonna be so good. He's like, it looks so cool. You get it? And I was like, I don't know. Well, Slayer walked away. Can't help you, buddy. There it is. We'll be back another week with another one of these. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Doom out.